This is the time of the gathering of true spiritual heroes who are called to rise to the occasion of the salvation of a dying world. But to become such heroes, we must go beyond the world. We must recognize that world as no world at all, but an illusion that can be transformed by the power of liberated consciousness. But the hero must have the courage to become free from all of the constraints of the superficial mind, the mind embedded in that delusional world, the mind embedded in the cage of the ego. And one must break free and enter into the deep forest of the unknowable self, the ungraspable. And become the lion-hearted one who abides in that deep, infinite space of unlimited consciousness, and explore what all the powers of consciousness are that can be wielded in the service of the Almighty Source of mind itself. It is there where we discover that we have within our hearts the archetype of Hanuman, the nature of the mind, the natural self, prior to the egoic constraints. That consciousness that knows no limits, that has natural confidence and courage, and the purity and generosity of heart to serve all that is highest and most real, most luminous, most pure, most true. And whose heart is on fire with such a glorious devotion to God that all of the collapsed wave functions that have made up its conceptual world are burned, annihilated. And all the walls of the labyrinth of mind are collapsed into nothingness and decollapsed into the infinite light. It is with the power of Hanuman that one can leap from the first emptiness to the second. The emptiness of a world that lacks love, that lacks truth, that lacks a self, that lacks reality, that lacks goodness, into a world that is empty of all but the real, and abide in that realm of the self. And with such power of unification, to dissolve the dream and recreate it in the most perfect and pristine reflection of your own heart. Until we have freed ourselves from any sense of being a someone in a world, limited in space and time, in body, in intelligence, in love, in capacity, until we have melted away all such identifications, we cannot begin to explore what we are capable of in our transformation of consciousness and our deployment of the capacities of attention and creativity to bring about the transfiguration of every moment and every event, to be reformed into the image of that perfect mandala in which the presence of the God Self shines and stabilizes the entirety of the cosmos through that equanimity of the omnipresent center. That is everywhere and nowhere. And the capacity to abide in that immovable point. In which there is no fall or no forgetfulness, no lack, no loss, no gain. But the perfection of abidance as the eternal presence, which is the mother and the father of all, the giver of life, and the bringer of all souls home to the light. It is this heroic task that transforms us from human into angel, and from angel into Devi and Deva, and finally into union with Mahadev. And it is this supreme power that calls us and that gives us the grace of the power to become imperceptible, invisible, non-existent, but act as that underlying foundation of the world that is being born.